What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to talk about Dominus Purge, and we're going to talk about the top 10 decks that can actually utilize this card and stay within its restrictions. So Dominus Purge, if you activate it from your hand, it has a restriction of you can only activate light, wind, and earth monster effects for the rest of the duel, and therefore we're going to look for decks that play light, earth, and or wind attribute cards in their deck exclusively. So yeah, we're going to go through the top 10 decks that fit that bill. Let me know if you have any additional ones that you want to add in the comments section down below. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go from most meta to least meta here of decks that can play Dominus Purge. And of course, we're going to start off with the fan favorite Blue Eyes White Dragon deck. We have all of the Blue Eyes cards being light attribute in both the main and extra deck. And not only that, we also pair it with Primite most of the time, which is going to be earth attribute with primarily Primite Ether Barrel, and that's both light and earth is going to fit under our Dominus Purge restrictions. So Dominus Purge is clearly a card that you're going to want to be playing in Blue Eyes. Okay, moving on to deck number 2. It's kind of an engine, but hey, it's going to be paired with a few of these other decks, and that's of course going to be the Fiendsmith deck. So Fiendsmith here, in my mind, is going to be like Musketeer Fiendsmith, and that's kind of weird too, because Fiendsmith Musketeer wants to summon some dark monsters in the extra deck, specifically things like the Unchained cards, where we're going to be going into Yama and Shavara and stuff. But if we stick to just the pure Musketeer Fiendsmith deck, and we just stick to basically Fiendsmith Engine Turbo, that's what I'm thinking of here, and that deck can play Dominus Purge because all of the Fiendsmith supporting cards are going to be light attribute. However, that does keep you out of Chaos Angel, that keeps you out of DDD Wave High King Caesar, and hey, you know, you're going to have a little bit of drawback, but obviously the Fiendsmith engine is one of the most popular engines in the game. It's light attribute, and therefore Purge is often paired with a Fiendsmith-centric deck. Speaking of Fiendsmith-centric decks, we're going to take a look at the next one, which is going to be Cashira, which is Cashira Fiendsmith specifically. The pure Cashira deck can't play Purge because it does rely on Cashira Ryzeal, which is a fire attribute monster. So we're not going to be playing Purge in pure Cashira, but the Cashira Fiendsmith deck that's been popular for the last few months, where we're playing 3 Unicorn, 3 Fenrir, and then a whole Fiendsmith package with Lacrima as our normal summon, that's all light, wind, and earth, so we have nothing to really worry about there. And once again, yeah, if we activate Purge, alright, we're going to be locked out of using Chaos Angel, and we're going to be locked out of using DDD Wave High King Caesar, but that's okay. You know, if we're activating Purge from our hand, probably we're going second. And if we're going second, we're probably not going to be making DDD Wave High King Caesar too much anyway, and that's going to be okay. And there are alternatives you can play in the extra deck for that card. So yeah, Cashira Fiendsmith is why Dominus Purge got popular in the first place, why its price originally spiked, and of course is probably our number 3 deck to play Purge in. Moving on to number 4, the number 4 deck, I would say from the most meta to least meta that you can play Dominus Purge in right now is going to be the Tombkeeper deck, the Odeon deck, whatever you want to call it. So all of the Odeon cards are going to be Earth attribute in the main deck, and then all of our extra deck stuff, supporting stuff, is also going to be light attribute. So this deck is often paired with Fiendsmith. That's all light. It doesn't really matter with Dominus Purge. And then also one of the most important extra deck pieces for this deck is going to be Silo Hat Rabbit, which is also light attribute. So we're in the clear when it comes to this deck. We're going to be playing Dominus Purge definitely in this particular deck because it combines both with the trap aspect of the deck, as well as it needs some good non-engine to actually be able to keep up with this particular meta. Okay, those were our top 4 decks. The rest of the decks are kind of like, we're getting a little lower in the tier list here, but hey, they still can play Purge, and it's still something you should be aware of. I think the next best deck that can play Purge is going to be another trap deck that just recently got support in Alliance Insight, and that's Elich. Okay, so Elich is all light attribute monsters in the main deck. Well, it's basically just Elich itself is a light attribute monster. All the trap monsters are light attribute as well. The only conflict is going to be the new fusion that came out in Alliance Insight, which is Fallen Angel of the Golden Land. We can still summon it, just can't use its effects, unfortunately. So yeah, we're not going to get full value here, but once again, if we want to go into Silo Hat Rabbit in the Elich deck, that's still light attribute, okay? So we still do have some pieces we can use. We can still link into Link Spider and stuff like that. So Elich generally unaffected by the Dominus Purge restriction, and therefore I think it's the 5th best deck that can play it. Moving on to number 6, the 6th best deck that I think can play Dominus Purge is going to be Melodius. So Melodius, essentially entirely light attribute across the board. The only exceptions like Ash Blossom, if you're still playing Ash Blossom in this deck, which you probably should, but you just use Ash first, of course, and then Purge after. So essentially no conflict here with the Melodius deck. And it's kind of cool with Melodius as well that it can also play a second hand trap that's pretty unique in Herald of the Orange Light. So that is one benefit of playing Melodius, is you get to play some pretty unique non-engine, pretty unique hand traps and stuff like that. And yeah, all light attribute, all works under Purge. Fantastic. Okay, moving on to deck number 7 in the tier list of decks that can play under Dominus Purge. That's going to be Ritual Beast here. So Ritual Beast is almost entirely wind attribute. There are a couple light monsters that are in the new support. I think the Laura in the main deck and then Noshio Drago in the extra deck are both light attribute, but everything else I think is wind. So definitely can play Purge in the Ritual Beast deck without any concern whatsoever. Even like most of your extra deck is all in engine, so you're not worried about being unable to go into some generic cards or anything like that. Yeah, you're only just locked out of Shifter, I guess. But you're going to use Shifter first, so it's fine. Okay, moving on to deck number 8 that can play under Dominus Purge. We're going to go with the Voiceless Voice deck. Voiceless Voice, basically all light attribute. Yeah, there are some engines that you might consider pairing with Voiceless that are going to keep you from playing Dominus Purge. For example, like the branded package. If we're locking ourselves out of dark effects, then branded's not going to be very good. And then something else you might pair with Voiceless, or I've seen paired with Voiceless, is going to be Ryzeal, which is somewhat usable under Purge, but not really, because the Sword Ryzeal is going to be locked out. So that's kind of unfortunate. Duo Drive going to be locked out as well. That's going to be a fire attribute monster. So yeah, if you're pairing Ryzeal with your Voiceless Voice, Purge probably not the best idea, but the pure Voiceless version is going to be pretty good with Purge. Alright, moving on to deck number 9 that can be paired with Dominus Purge. We're going to move on to Trap Tricks. So we're sensing a little theme here. A lot of the trap decks are going to be able to play under Purge. It's not so bad. You know, all of Trap Tricks is Earth across the board, all of the main deck, all of the extra deck basically. Maybe there's some like tech extra deck options like SP Little Knight that you're going to be locked out of, but I think Trap Tricks will be able to get around that just fine. And yeah, Purge is definitely a trap card you can play in this deck. It's another positive thing is with trap decks and the Dominus cards, if you have a trap in your graveyard, the Dominus card will also destroy whatever it's negating. So that is an additional benefit with Trap Tricks here. Alright, moving on to deck number 10 that can be played with Dominus Purge. It's kind of your pick on, which one we want to actually put in the 10th spot, but I think I'll just give ABC the benefit of the doubt here. All of its main deck pieces are light attribute. The boss monster ABC Dragon Cannon Buster is a light attribute as well. And yeah, we're basically going to be able to play the ABC engine just fine under Purge. Yeah, we're going to be locked out of a few things that we might typically pair with ABC. Like, for example, the adventure cards. We're going to be locked out of summoning, Griffin. Or we're going to be locked out of using Enchantress, which is a water attribute. So that's not so good. And then I'm not really sure how ABC is built nowadays or what it's paired with, to be honest. But I do know that the main engine is going to be all lights, and we're going to work under Purge. A couple honorable mentions I want to have as well. Madolche was my other choice for the number 10 deck. It's entirely Earth attribute, main deck and extra deck, so no problem playing Purge there, but I haven't seen Madolche played in a long time, so I'm not sure where it falls compared to Trap Tricks or ABC, but yeah, Madolche is another deck that we can play Purge in. And then another one, potentially, this is not even a real deck in my opinion anymore, but Earth Machine, it's in the name, Earth's. It's all Earth, except for a couple dark monsters, the Machina ones, Unclaspbear and the, the big one, the level 11, is a dark attribute, so that we will be locked out of those, unfortunately, if we're using Purge, but for a majority of the engine, we're going to be just fine because it's almost all Earth attribute stuff in the deck. So that's going to wrap up this video today on what decks are best to play Dominus Purge in. If I missed any, please let me know in the comment section down below. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and with that, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.